Part 3 of the Odyssey, Book 24, Odysseus and his Father. The ghosts of the suitors drift away through dank places to where the dead dwell at the world's end. Odysseus has one more duty. He must go to old Laertes, his grieving father, who lives alone outside of town. A natural storyteller to the end, Odysseus cannot resist teasing his father. He pretends to be a traveler who had entertained Odysseus 5 years ago. As Laertes hears his son spoken of, the old man's eyes fill with tears. A cloud of pain had fallen on Laertes. Scooping up handfuls of the burnt dust, he sifted it over his gray head and groaned, and the groan went to the son's heart. A twinge prickling up through his nostrils warned Odysseus he could not watch this any longer. He leapt and threw his arms around his father, kissed him, and said, "Oh, father, I am he. 20 years gone, and here I've come again to my own land. Hold back your tears. No grieving. I bring good news, though still we cannot rest. I killed the suitors to the last man. Outrage and injury have been avenged." Laertes turned and found his voice to murmur, "If you are Odysseus, my son, come back. Give me some proof, a sign to make me sure." His son replied, "The scar, then, first of all. Look, here the wild boar's flashing tusk wounded me on Parnassus. Do you see it? Again, more proof. Let's say the trees you gave me on this revetted plot of orchard once. I was a small boy at your heels, wheedling amid the young trees, while you named each one. You gave me 13 pear, 10 apple trees, and 40 fig trees. 50 rows of vines were promised too, each one to bear in turn. Bunches of every hue would hang there ripening, weighed down by the god of summer days." The old man's knees failed him, his heart grew faint, recalling all that Odysseus calmly told. He clutched his son. Odysseus held him swooning until he got his breath back and his spirit and spoke again. "Zeus, Father, gods above, you still hold pure Olympus, if the suitors paid for their crimes indeed, and paid in blood." They went home, the two together, into the stone farmhouse. There Telemachus and the two herdsmen were already carving roast young pork and mixing amber wine. During these preparations, the sickle woman bathed Laertes and anointed him and dressed him in a new cloak. Then Athena, standing by, filled out his limbs again, gave girth and stature to the old field captain fresh from the bathing place. His son looked on in wonder at the godlike bloom upon him and called out happily, "O father, surely one of the gods who are young forever has made you magnificent before my eyes." The families of the dead suitors arrive, with revenge in their hearts. A blood feud seems inevitable, and a battle has already begun, when Pallas Athena, directed by Zeus, ends once and for all the power struggle in Ithaca. "Now hold," she cried, "break off this bitter skirmish, end your bloodshed, Ithacans, and make peace." Their faces paled with dread before Athena, and swords dropped from their hands unnerved to lie strewing the ground at the great voice of the goddess. Those from the town turned fleeing for their lives. But with a cry to freeze their hearts, and ruffling like an eagle on the pounce, the Lord Odysseus reared himself to follow, at which the son of Cronos dropped a thunderbolt, smoking at his daughter's feet. Athena cast a gray glance at her friend and said, "Son of Laertes and the gods of old, Odysseus, master of landways and seaways, command yourself. Call off this battle now, or Zeus, who views the wide world, may be angry." He yielded to her, and his heart was glad. Both parties swore to terms of peace set by their arbiter, Athena, daughter of Zeus, who bears the storm cloud as a shield, though still she kept the voice and form of Mentor.